This is CJ with KSTP meteorologist Ken Barlow and his wife Theresa, who likes to keep a low to no profile. Ken's a big-time fan of the Patriots because he's from that part of the country, and he graciously offered to conceal Tom Brady's helmet, a prized celebrity auction purchase on display in the family room, because I hate Tom Brady. But this is Ken's castle, so show it off, weather boy. Despite the silliness with the helmet, the real reason for me dropping in on the Barlows is to talk about the serious matter of the contribution Ken is making to mental health awareness by speaking about his personal struggle.
So this is a book I got from a speech I did at Hosanna Church down in Lakeville, and I didn't know it at the time, but the people organized it had these things. It says a note for Ken, and they're all what the people were thinking who were there. I think there were 500 people there that night, which is way more than I thought. And they wrote these amazing messages, and when I feel down and wonder why I go around and talking, because it really is emotional, I look at these and it really gets me.
Another source of encouragement is this Carrie Fisher quote, a gift from his daughter.
Caroline painted this for me for Christmas.
Yeah, okay, good.
Isn't that pretty?
Yeah. On TV, it's probably difficult to tell Ken is having a bad day, which he was on this one. So when you're having a bad day, what else do you do besides look at those nice notes that people wrote to you?
Well, when I'm having a bad day, Theresa is my biggest supporter. She has seen this act before, not an act, but she's seen kind of like a play where she knows how it's going to end, and it's going to end good. It's going to end okay. So she reminds me that tomorrow will be a better day, and it's going to be fine. If I want to lay around because I'm depressed, I should just relax and not overthink it.
Now that I'm not teasing you about the Tom Brady helmet, I can kind of see it in your eyes.
Can you?
Yes, I can.
Does it twinkle?
No, there's a less than twinkle. You do look a little sadder now that I'm actually looking at you.
Well, sometimes I watch TV, but most of the time I'm looking at the helmet. It's right there.
So are Americans finally losing their anxiety over mental illness? Because when you opened up, it was about 2012. That was unusual.
It was unusual. I mean, some actors and actresses in Hollywood had said stuff about it, like Carrie Fisher, but a lot of people couldn't relate on a local level. And then when I came forward with it, a lot of people were surprised because they can watch me on TV and say, oh my gosh, I'd never know he was depressed or manic. And that was a big step. And I think it's becoming more acceptable. It's just not there yet.
What celebrity are you surprised contacted you?
Glenn Close, right after, because she runs a place called Bring Change to Mind. It's a nonprofit. Her sister has bipolar disorder, so she raises money for that. She wrote me out of nowhere, somehow found out about this whole thing, and I was shocked to see that. Ginger Z from Good Morning America, I wrote her thanking her for writing a book about her depression. And she said to me that I opened the door, and I was just shocked because I don't know her, but somehow she heard about it.
Yeah. What did you see when Kanye West was in the Oval Office?
I saw a man who said he had bipolar disorder, who was off his medication. For me, I'm not a psychologist. What I saw was a man going through a manic episode. He talked and rambled and talked about things that nobody knew. He punched his code in his phone right in front of the camera so everybody could see the code. Not that anyone would use it, but that's just not something normally people would do. And I felt sad. A lot of people made fun of it. It wasn't funny. It wasn't crazy. It was sad to me.
Being mentally ill is no excuse to act like a jackass. That's what Pete Davidson said he was told by his therapist, his mom, and his mailman. Is that too insensitive to put on a t-shirt?
No, I wouldn't say so. I think those of us who have a mental illness and are open about it are willing to talk about it like that. It's not an excuse to act like a jackass. There's no excuse to act that way no matter what illness you have, even mental illness.
Why do people resist taking their medicine? I'm trying to understand why my relative wouldn't take her medicine.
When I was diagnosed, I went through all all the steps of denial, anger, and then finally I accepted it. So it was anger at first when I resisted taking my medicine. And then I finally did when somebody told me that, when you are off your meds, this is how you are. Because I don't see it. It has to be acceptance by that person. You can't force them to do it. That's the unfortunate part.
What do you feel different when you're on your medicines that you don't feel when you're not on your medicine?
First of all, the depression eventually goes away. Unfortunately, antidepressants take 2 weeks to work a lot of times. And if you have depression, that's like 2 years. And it's hard to see ahead of yourself 2 weeks because you're in such a bad place.
Were you surprised to hear that Paul Majors mentioned you during his WCCO interview?
I was surprised in 2 ways. One of the ways is I never knew that he had an alcohol addiction or problem. Chad asked him how he came forward with it, and Paul said, and I remember getting teared up at the time, that one of the reasons that he felt comfortable doing it was because I came forward with my, not addiction, but my problem. Everybody has stuff. This is my stuff. That was his. And I am so proud of him for coming forward like that, because he has helped so many people just by doing that.